So the last step that we have to do here for inventory is we need to get the major unit inventory into the system. And there's two things that you need to be aware of here. If you already own the unit, then you need to put the unit into the system here in the unit section, knowing that you're never going to put units in manually like this again. Generally, everything comes through a purchase order. So if you're putting units in after you do a conversion directly into the major unit section, then you're doing something wrong. So at this point, what I want to do, and you should always do this to make sure that someone else hasn't entered the unit into the system, and to make sure that you haven't put it in twice. So we're going to go to the locate control, and we're going to locate the VIN number that we want to actually put into the system. So we're just going to type in whatever the VIN number is that we want to put in, or the serial number. And if we do not find it in the system already, then we're just going to come up here and tell it to add unit. And at this point, what you have to do is select the model number. So now I want to mention something about model numbers. It is very easy to get into the mode of let's just throw something in here so I can get this unit put in here. The problem is you're going to end up with a mess that you're going to hate later on. So we highly recommend spending a little bit of effort here to make sure you're putting model numbers in correctly, and not just throwing a bunch of model numbers in to try to get units put in so that you can do a service ticket real quick or go sell a unit real quick. Take the time, put them all in the same way. Use spaces, don't use spaces, but don't use both. So at this point, I want to put in a CBR 1000, so I could type in CBR, and the system will bring me up a list of all the CBR 1000s, year, make, and models. You can see here as an example, I've got a CBR 1000 here with no spaces, and up here we have CBR 1000 in here with a space. You want to try to not do things like that so that you can find things and make sure you're not putting them in twice. So at this point, if I wanted to create a unit for this, we'll just select it, put in the VIN number, stock number, whatever it is that you need to do here, the unit price, other information, and then you save it. Now, when you save a unit this way, Lizzy is going to be hitting your inventory shrinkage account when this unit goes in, because there's no payable to tie it to. So you're basically only putting units in like this that you already own outright and you don't owe anybody money for. If you owe somebody for it, you're going to create the unit over in the purchase order section. So now that I've shown you how to do that, let's show you how to do one where you don't have the model number in this list already. By the way, we can import model number lists. If you can get them from the vendors, we can import those in for you. But let's go ahead and create one where we are creating the model number on the fly. You'll notice that this control looks almost exactly like the other control that we had a minute ago. The difference is that we have model number information up here at the top that we can also supply. So we need a manufacturer, year, type of unit, and the model number. The vendor order code and the model name are not required, but you do need to fill the others in so that Lizzy knows what model we're working with, and then she'll save that model in for future use so that you never have to type it in again. So basically, you're never going to type a model number in more than once, as long as you're doing everything correctly. Now, once you get the models, the units in that you actually own into the system, the next step is to put the ones in that you still owe vendors on. So to do that, we're going to go over here to accounting, and we're going to go to payables, and we're going to create a new purchase order, serialized, and we're going to choose the manufacturer. Now, Lizzy will not create the same purchase or multiple purchase orders to the same vendor as long as they're open. So if I have an open order and I come over here and tell it to create a Honda purchase order, you'll notice when I go to next, there's already units on here, and the reason is because it hasn't been ordered. So it'll continue to add things to this particular order until I place the order, and then it will create another new purchase order and start putting other models on it. So it kind of helps with the whole process and not having to worry too much about the fact that you already have a PO sitting out there. To add a PO or add a model number to a PO, it works pretty similar to the other. You type in the model number itself that you're looking for. You select it from the list. You tell it how many of them you're going to add. You click OK. And then the system will go out and add those items to the list for you so that you can get them ordered. So I recommend making this purchase order look similar to your old business system so that it's easy to go back and forth and kind of research things. I wouldn't get them like totally scattered out. One last thing, and this is just something that you can keep in mind if some dealers actually find it easier to do it this way. It's not quite as slick because you don't get to keep everything linked exactly the same. But if you go back over here to serialized units and you locate a unit that you have, so I'm going to locate a new unit, and we'll just pick one of these. I don't know if any of them are going to fit my bill, but this one does. So this particular unit I manually added to the system, which means that there is no purchase order saying that I owe money on it. So I have the ability to also tell it to just refinance this thing, pick the supplier to put the unit on, and when I hit refinance, it will actually create a purchase order and put this thing over there and swap all my GL hits so that instead of going to inventory shrinkage, they'll actually move into the purchase order. So it is possible to put everything into major units and then do a refinance on each one of them to get them over into payables. The only downside is you're going to end up with a different purchase order for each individual unit that you refinance. So it's not the cleanest solution, but it is another way of getting all of these units into the system quickly.